Hello and welcome. Hope you guys are doing well tonight. It is Doug Diamond. I finally made it. And it's been kind of a crazy last couple days for me. I've been traveling. You guys might notice I'm in a slightly different place. About 10 hours slightly different by car. I am coming to you from the place that you probably have heard of that a certain creature has come from. And I think you know what creature I'm talking about. The creature from Jekyll Island. So I am on Jekyll Island currently, and I'm going to be doing a little bit of research a little bit later in the week probably. I just got here yesterday and decided to take a short vacation. First vacation I've had in probably, I think the last one was a Dallas trip I made back at January 1st or so of 2020. So it's pre-COVID. So first vacation since then. And so it ought to be interesting. So I've got my family here, and we're going to be doing a little bit of digging around as far as, what actually went on in Jekyll Island, which you guys know that's the birthplace of the Federal Reserve, the infamous Federal Reserve. So I'm going to see what I can find out about that, and I've found out some other details about this area that I'm going to look into as well, having to do with a Indian tribe that is no longer around, and potential connections to the Nephilim, because they were giants and they have disappeared. So I'm going to do a little bit more research and try and bring you guys more of like a special report or at least an additional video at some point. I don't know if it'll be part of this broadcast or maybe just a separate video, but we'll see what happens. Like I said, I just got here. So anyway, I just thought I would go through the news and see what we can find to talk about. I'll probably keep it short tonight because I am on Eastern time tonight instead of Central time, so I'm an hour later. It's currently 11:20 p.m. on July 2nd, 2023. So I hope you guys have had a great week. I'm going to probably keep it as short as possible, only because, like I said, it's kind of late here already. And I'm on a different system, different live stream system, different everything. So it's a little bit more clunky for me. I'm not quite used to it I'm used to the software, but just the switches and stuff that I have to do, it's different than the normal setup that I use. So let's look at the news. I've got Hal Turner Radio Show pulled up here, and the one of the main articles here on the homepage, Russia's Medvedev says there will be a nuclear winter. He's one of these guys that keeps talking about the possibility of nuclear event of some sort happening. So we will see. We will see. I do think that I tend to believe him. I think he's probably right. So we'll have to keep our eye on that. You guys know I have been. I've been watching that closely. And several of these postings here on Hal's website have to do with that. That's what this one is, talking about the winds shifting, carrying potential radiation into the NATO countries. And Hal thinks that there's going to be a nuclear event July 4th and 5th. There's a question mark here, obviously, and I'll preface this by saying he's almost never right on the dates that he puts out. Matter of fact, I can't think of any times when he's been right on dates that he's put out, at least not lately. So I would definitely take it with a huge grain of salt. I don't know that will actually happen. However, what he's talking about here is a nuclear event in Ukraine at Zaporizhia, so at the nuke plant there, which Russians have full control over, and the Ukrainians are saying the Russians are going to cause a nuclear event, which means if you just do the 180 on that, obviously Ukraine is going to do the nuclear event if that's what happens. So, we'll keep our eye out on it. This nuke sniffer plane Hal's talking about is in the air. U.S. moves Constant Phoenix nuke sniffer plane to Crete. So, it's just looking more and more like that's where it's headed. So definitely be right with God, because we just never know. On any moment, things could change. Life could turn on a dime, and it may very well. So anyway, HalTurnerRadioShow.com on those articles. So technocracy.news let's look at a few articles on here. I'm in the middle of reading a book that's talking about technocracy quite a bit. And once I finish it, I will give you guys some highlights from it. I think it's a really good book. And it's actually about the Great Reset. And Patrick Wood, the guy that runs technocracy.news, is featured in the book pretty heavily. So I think it's pretty interesting. And let's take a look at some of the articles on Patrick's site. OpenAI and ChatGPT, the shepherds of the singularity or highway to doom. Yeah, you can see the little guy here with his laptop. Funny. Orwell said, "Don't let it happen." Well, it happened. The AI genie's out of the bottle and spreading like wildfire throughout the world. It's being structurally embedded at all levels of society. For every potential good use, there are multiple horrific uses, like creating a lethal bioweapon in as little as 2 hours, or driving someone to suicide. There's no possibility of containing AI at this point because too many companies and countries are deploying it. Technocrats build because they are compelled to, not because there is a demonstrated need to do so. And there's a video here embedded about Orwell's final warning. So, yeah, AI, talking about Orwell, and I think it goes beyond anything Orwell talked about. Honestly, we're looking at Brave New World, not 1984, really. Or maybe a combination of both. So yeah, again, I will as soon as I have some more details when I finish this book that I've been reading, I will certainly let you guys know about it. But there's a lot of really important information about AI and so forth in there. All right, cybersecurity and the Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, was behind massive censorship. I mentioned this, I think, last week on the program. Technocracy's cyber war against humanity is clearly evidenced by the clandestine censorship steamroller prosecuted by the U.S. government against the citizenry of America. Lies, deception, and subterfuge were used to hide the criminal, if not outright treasonous, behavior of unelected and unaccountable technocrats. These egregious violations shredded the First Amendment. Yes, and they continue to. They are bringing in these public-private partnerships. They're bringing in corporations to do their dirty work so that they can put their hands up in the air and say, hey, we're not messing with the First Amendment. We're not messing with your freedom of speech. It's these companies doing it. And yet, it's these companies that are contractors with the government that are doing it, such as Facebook, YouTube, Google, and so forth, and so on. So, yeah, as you guys well know, I'm sure. So another good article on technocracy.news. We got one more here. Lawsuit claims OpenAI stole massive amounts of personal data to train ChatGPT. The technocrat mind sees access to any and all data in the universe as an unalienable right. Thus, they have no moral or ethical restraint when hoovering up otherwise protected data such as medical records and personal data. This behavior underscores technocracy's disdain for laws and the rule of law. OpenAI stole massive amounts of personal data to train ChatGPT. And this is something Anthony Patch talks about quite a bit. Not necessarily the stealing of personal data, but just how ChatGPT and AI in general, artificial intelligence or artificial general intelligence, how it works. So if you guys want to know more about AI, Anthony Patch is doing some wonderful work, I think, in exposing the entire plan as far as what AI is involved with and how it works. So anthonypatch.com for more information on that. G. Edward Griffin's Need to Know.news. Now, speaking of Jekyll Island, where I am, is G. Edward Griffin is the guy who wrote the book, The Creature from Jekyll Island. So if you guys haven't seen that video, you can find it on YouTube, where he does a wonderful presentation about the origins of the Federal Reserve. So if you guys don't know about that, definitely look that up. That's a must-see. I probably should have brought a clip of that, but again, my technology where I'm at here tonight is somewhat limited, so I'll have to leave it up to you guys to look up G. Edward Griffin and The Creature from Jekyll Island if you want to learn more about that. But again, I'll try and do another separate report or addition to the Diamond Report later on and bring you some more information on that. after I've been here a little bit longer. So Sweden dumps globalist climate agenda, scraps green energy targets. So Sweden is doing a lot of things right. Here's what this says. Sweden capped its 100% renewable energy supply targets as Finance Minister Elisabeth Svantesson warned that the Scandinavian nation needs a stable energy system. Instead of wind and solar energy, it will shift back to nuclear power. Sweden has struck a blow against the globalist green agenda that is being heavily pushed by the UN, the WHO, and the Paris Climate Agreement, the World Bank, the WEF, and the Democrat President Joe Biden and his administration. So yeah, pretty interesting that Sweden is saying no. They've said yes to importing all of the, or as many migrants as they can get, though. So I do think that they've got one more thing to take a look at. But Sweden's starting to look pretty good right now. How about, I don't know what you guys think, but man, they've got some leaders that seem to be doing more of the right thing, at least versus some of the other Western countries, ours in particular. So yeah, pretty interesting that Sweden's doing that. EU warns against potential unintended consequences of geoengineering. I thought this was kind of interesting. This is on Zero Hedge. An increasing number of climate alarmists who trust global warming science, quote unquote, have pitched the idea of large-scale interventions like they're not already doing it, such as solar geoengineering to reverse climate change. They believe human activity is the sole reason for the Earth's increase in temperature and say large-scale intervention is immediately needed to stop the planet's destruction. Some have even called for fleets of planes to spray chemicals into the atmosphere to deflect the sun's rays as the world's last hope for survival. But not so fast. A report published by the European Commission on Thursday outlined the potential risks and unintended consequences for manipulating the planetary systems to fight global warming. Never mind the fact they've been doing it for decades. Here's a picture of the interior of one of the planes right here. And this is what your normal skies look like these days. And yet, they want us to believe it's coming. They might do it. Maybe. Oh, I didn't show you guys my shirt. It says, humanity is essential. Humanity is essential. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So, more of the same. Pretending like it's not already happening. You know, not too surprising, but I don't really see too many articles about that outside of geoengineeringwatch.org. There are some other outfits, news agencies and so forth that are reporting on geoengineering. They're just always like this one saying that, they're talking about doing it. They're thinking about implementing it someday. And in fact, it's been going on for many, many decades. It's only been ramped up more recently. As you guys know, how BlackRock's Larry Fink uses ESG and AI to control the world's money. I always call him Larry the Fink. It's a perfect name for the guy, Larry the Fink. He sounds like a rat. To describe the activities of a vast corporation plundering the world and directed by a robot sounds like a nightmare scene from science fiction, yet this is the obscene reality that we inhabit. And it is one authored by a gargantuan machine whose enormous profits are only matched by the devastating losses they inflict on the lives of ordinary people. So there's the face, Larry the Fink. Head of BlackRock, largest investment firm in the world, Larry the Fink said the term ESG has become weaponized, forcing him to distance himself from the brand. I'm not going to use the word ESG because it's been misused by the far left and the far right, Fink said at the Aspen Ideas Festival a few days ago. What is ESG? According to Investopedia, ESG is a set of standards for a company's behavior used by socially conscious investors to screen potential investments. The acronym stands for Environmental Social Governance. Or I can sum it up with just one word, tyranny. That's what it stands for. So Larry the Fink wants more tyranny in your life, and he thinks he should be running your life. That's what BlackRock is attempting to do. So feel free to look at this. This is on lifesitenews.com. And I don't think I've mentioned it, but this article, as well as all these tonight, which it'll be a shorter list tonight because we're going to wrap this up a little bit quicker. But it's all going to be on my Substack. So feel free to subscribe there if you're not already. Let me see if I can find I've got a banner here. for that, but it's diamonddisk.substack.com, diamonddisk.substack.com. Many of you guys listening are probably already on the list, but if you're not, please join. It's free, and you'll get the links to all of the articles we're talking about, as well as the videos, and then other things that I happen to send out on there. It's a good way for me to stay in touch with you guys. So again, diamonddisk.substack.com. And yeah, just go there and drop your email address in. It's really easy to deal with. So trying to make it easy for everybody. All right, so let's keep moving here. I found this one and thought you guys might think it's interesting. The world's largest cruise ship completes trial run and is set to sail next year. And all you need to know, this is on Mint, livemint.com. Unmatched capacity and dimensions. I showed this to a family member earlier, and the first thing they said was, "Oh, Titanic 2.0." And that was the headline that I clicked on to get to this article, is what that said. I was pretty surprised that they said that. Look at this thing. Wow. It says, measuring a staggering 1,200 feet in length, the icon of the seas dominates the seascape. Weighing 250,800 tons, this mammoth cruise ship is an engineering marvel. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? It boasts an unprecedented capacity of 7,960 people, which will translate to 5,610 passengers and 2,350 crew. Man. Royal Caribbean is where it's going to be. The Wonder of the Seas. The Icon of the Seas is the boat's name. The current one that's the biggest is called Wonder of the Seas. It's 10 feet longer than that one. So, yeah. So, almost 8,000 people on that ship. No thanks. I will not be going on vacation there, that's for sure. Anyway, so you guys would like to see that. White House releases report on reflecting sunlight to cool the earth. No formal study planned now. So once again, it's not happening yet, so just go back to sleep. Don't look up in the sky. Those trails you see are just condensation. You all know that. And just shut up, conspiracy theorists. It says on Friday, White House released a federally mandated report on solar geoengineering, which is an umbrella term that describes methods of reflecting sunlight away from the Earth to cool the atmosphere. The Biden-Harris administration has no plans underway to launch a comprehensive research program into solar radiation modification. Why would they research it? It's already going on. But the report lays out the case for what such a research program would look like and why it could be beneficial. The primary theme in the report focused on looking at solar geoengineering through a risk versus risk framework. That's the exact same verbiage that David Keith has used in videos that I've seen. It's a risk to risk basis. I remember him saying that. So this sounds like it's probably some David Keith propaganda. I don't know if you guys know who David Keith is. But he does use those terms, risk to risk assessment. I remember that. Some of the different movies and interviews and stuff he's done. And Mr. Dane Wigington of geoengineeringwatch.org has talked about David Keith at length. He's the world's top geoengineer. He's the one out there that's basically the face of the current programs. And like everybody else, he's saying that it's not happening yet, and we may have to do this if we get desperate enough to need to use it. But it's all a lie. It's been going on for decades. They're just ramping it up. It's just getting harder to hide now. All right. I had several people send me this one, so I wanted to take a look at it. We talked a lot about the coming Antichrist here on this show, and, yet more information about the guy. The King Charles, attends National Climate Clock Switch on at Climate Innovation Forum. So he's switching the clock on here, I guess. Pretty interesting. 28th of June, so just a few days ago, His Majesty Charles III is today attended the launch of a climate clock, representing a stark warning that there are only 6 years and 24 days left to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees. And if you ask certain scientists and people like Mr. Dane, I think we're already past the 1.5 degrees, actually. But King Charles has the giant Staples button there on the podium, and he's got his hand on it. So, yeah, it says, His Majesty has attended the launch of the Climate Clock. The event took place on Climate Innovation Forum, where His Majesty, I really don't like saying that, but that's what they're calling, also attended a meeting on climate solutions and met British climate tech founders. The climate clock was switched on by Sadiq Khan, mayor of London, using a button made of plastic recovered from the ocean. It looks like one of those Staples buttons that they use in their commercials. The activation of a 5-meter tall climate clock in the City of London's historic Guildhall automatically launched 150 climate clocks across London and major cities nationwide, the largest of which is at Piccadilly Circus. Billboards were donated by Ocean Outdoor and JC Deco. So yeah, climate clock represents the speed of action that must be taken to limit the worst climate change and global warming. So, to me, global warming and climate change is real. It's just all been, directed by geoengineering that they're saying isn't happening yet. It's not going on. And many other people think that same thing as well. The climate is being disrupted on purpose by geoengineering, not by you having a car with gas or air conditioning. Not that could potentially have some sort of impact if you have millions and millions of people across the world doing that, possibly, but it's still geoengineering that's the main assault on the climate. So they're coming in with the solution to the problem that they've created to begin with, and that is geoengineering. And yet, the coming Antichrist, King Charles here, is front and center on this one. This is his religion. So that's why I think that the climate, the green agenda and the climate will be probably some version of, or scientism, or whatever you want to call it, is going to be some version of the one world religion when it comes to that. And I think we're probably not all that far away from that. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, thanks for everybody who sent me this particular article. Pretty interesting. News Wars. Now, for all you Diet Coke drinkers out there, aspartame. I know you guys know it's bad for you, but it apparently is even worse than we thought. Aspartame trends online after the WHO, the World Homicide Organization, declares it a possible carcinogen. Critics of the artificial sweetener have been deemed conspiracy theorists for decades. So the WHO is proving the conspiracy theorists, quote-unquote, correct. The controversial artificial sweetener called aspartame became a trending topic on Twitter Thursday after a source reported to the World Homicide Organization will soon declare the product a possible carcinogen. Aspartame was trending alongside Diet Coke, a product that uses a synthetic sweetener. Says, talking about AJ and InfoWars, having talked about this a long, long time ago. The product's been reportedly connected to cancer and linked to diseases such as diabetes and Alzheimer's, in addition to weight gain, which is ironic as it's primarily used in diet drinks. So for all you Diet Coke fans out there, I know you guys know that aspartame is bad news, but it's apparently even it's bad if the World Homicide Organization says it's bad. So it says it's known carcinogen in the 70s is what this says. So not exactly new information, I suppose, but you have a major global power out there saying, yep, it's probably a carcinogen. They're finally admitting it. Activist post, more driverless vehicles, CV2X tech on American roads via T-Mobile 5G. So there's several articles here on this site. Activist Post is a pretty good site. Let's take a look at this one. Let me read through the top piece here. It says, over the years, numerous incidents, reports, and studies have justified numerous reasons why Americans are concerned about and or opposed to driverless, aka autonomous vehicles. I call them self-crashing cars. Ditto on 5G and other wireless technologies. Nevertheless, more complete driverless vehicles are being deployed, and 5G as well as other controversial wireless technologies continue to be used for transportation purposes. So this article is dated today, so feel free to take a look at this. More info here about self-crashing cars. But apparently T-Mobile is all for it. So, yeah, not good news. Not good at all. Yeah. Let's see. Gateway Pundit. Several U.S. cities are replacing 4th of July fireworks with drone light shows due to environmental concerns. Yeah, they're probably also concerned about starting fires because there's so much dry So many places around are dry. But let's see what this article says. Several U.S. cities are replacing traditional July 4th fireworks shows with drone light displays due to them being more environmentally friendly. One of the cities opting to go the non-traditional route of having a drone display instead of fireworks is Salt Lake City. Salt Lake mayor said the decision to replace fireworks with the drone show was to be conscious of the city's air quality and to prevent any wildfires in the area. The fires I get, I understand that, but I mean, drones really? I mean, that's pretty boring, right? City of Boulder has also opted to replace fireworks with drones, so it's a lot of blue cities here. Posted it on its official Facebook page. The shift from traditional fireworks to drones was not an easy decision, and based on a number of factors, it's probably far more expensive, I would think. It would have to be. Several users on Facebook were not too keen on the City of Boulder's announcement on Facebook and commented the decision was, quote, lame, and that they were disappointed about the city's decision to replace fireworks. Well, we're only a couple days away from that, so what are they doing where you are? I think where we are currently, I think they're having actual real fireworks. We're right by the water here, so I don't think they're too worried about setting the water on fire. Maybe I'm wrong. Biden's White House payroll at historic highs, 524 employees, at a taxpayer cost of $52+ million. Man. While American families are suffering during the first 3 years of his administration, the Biden White House has spent $158.8 million on the largest White House payroll in American history, based on headcount. Biden administration released its annual report to Congress on the White House office personnel as of June 30th. Open the books, shares the details of the outrageous costs. The top paid is this Dimitri Deskakis, $260,718. Deputy coordinator for the monkeypox response, so it's that guy. The second most highly paid is this guy, Anand Das, Senior Deputy Associate Counsel, $216,000. Both were previously stationed at federal agencies, Center for Disease Control and the Securities and Exchange Commission, and now serve the White House on detail, quote unquote. Yeah. So anyway, there is more numbers on here if you want to take a look at it. It says Joe Biden's staff more than doubled from last year, 8 to 20 this year. Yeah, and when he goes places, he has a caravan of like 40 or 50 cars or something like that because he's so concerned about the climate. The carbon footprint of people like that is just amazing. And yet, again, it's okay if they do it. He's the president, right? North America's tallest, fastest, longest Giga coaster closes after visitors' shocking observation. So many of you guys will be probably taking family vacations like we are this week, and maybe if you're going to see this North Carolina roller coaster, you may be disappointed. Here's what this says. Massive North Carolina roller coaster was closed Friday after a visitor spotted a crack in a support beam. But the story doesn't end there. The word spread that Fury 325 at the Carowinds amusement park was closing. A second visitor discovered images that appear to show the same crack 6 days before the roller coaster was closed. Fury 325 is touted by Carowinds as the tallest, fastest, longest Giga coaster in North America, according to Just the News. A Giga coaster is a complete circuit roller coaster between 300 feet and 399 feet in height, or with a drop within those boundaries. Jeremy Wagner of North Carolina was at the park with his children when he noticed something he should not have seen while they were riding the ride. The Fury 325 says, and I look up and I see a light come through a pole, he said. He pulled out his phone and videoed the next car by. When the car came by, I saw it move, he said, adding, it takes one time, just one time. He showed the video to park security and asked that the ride be closed. He said that he left without being certain what the park would do, but later found out it was being closed. Talking about he hopes that they shut it down. Wow. So that guy might have saved a lot of people's lives. Can you imagine if one of those things split? Vaccine impact. There's no peace for the USA. There's some good articles over here on vaccineimpact.com exposing how Christian churches participate and facilitate the human sex trafficking world. So that's very disturbing. For years now, I have exposed, this is the main writer here on Vaccine Impact. He's exposed the corporate Christian church's participation in child sex trafficking by receiving government funding for U.S. government child welfare programs, including foster care and adoptions. This child welfare system is the main pipeline for children's exploitation and sex trafficking, and the entire evil system would be crippled and brought to its knees if the Christian churches just stopped participating in it and stopped receiving government funding to parent other people's children. Then there's a video clip from this film called Cages, Epic Human Trafficking Truth. So yeah, church is involved. Wow. And then here's more on human trafficking. Arizona whistleblowers expose the human sex trafficking business at the U.S. border. That's something that AJ and InfoWars has been talking about at length for a long time. So yeah. From Merck to Microsoft, these are the companies that BlackRock controls the most of. So going back to Larry the Fink. Artificial intelligence is the new danger the government wants to protect you against. So we've been hearing a lot about AI lately, and this saying, a new threat to humanity that the U.S. government is currently rushing forward to protect us all from is the alleged threat from artificial intelligence, AI. The threat of AI is generally published through the corporate media as a twofold threat that requires government regulation. 1, AI could develop superior intelligence and destroy the human race. And 2, AI is going to replace millions of people in the workforce. Both premises are false, and by diverting the public's attention to these two alleged threats, they are mostly ignoring or downplaying the real danger of AI, which is the level of control and censorship that this world has never seen before. Yeah, they're already running AI to control all kinds of systems, YouTube being a huge one, which is why I've been censored so much on YouTube, Facebook, and so forth. It's all run by AI. Talking about different AI programs and systems and stuff in this article. So another good article on vaccineimpact.com. So take a look at that, and that might have been the last one I had. No, I have Geoengineering Watch pulled up here. Chemical smoke apocalypse. That's a tricky one to say. Why does wildfire smoke smell like burnt plastic? Why are atmospheric aerosol spraying operations routinely conducted directly over wildfire smoke canopies? The European Union is getting nervous about atmosphere-altering geoengineering. I mentioned that earlier tonight. Texas is in meltdown mode. Florida is now superheating. California is being baked, and more massive hail hammered Colorado. Warnings are being sent out about Yellowstone's supervolcano. Have the controllers scheduled it to erupt? We are now being told that an unexpectedly soon solar maximum is going to take out satellites, power grids, the internet later this year. Is there more to the story? There always is. Oceans are superheating and dying. Fisheries are collapsing along with flash drought killing crops. How soon till store shelves empty out and chaos erupts? Latest installment of Global Alert News is below. So that is yesterday's Global Alert News by Dane Wigington, geoengineeringwatch.org. Highly recommended. So let's stop there and see what you guys are saying. Looks like we have several folks here tonight. I'm glad you guys made it. I know I didn't actually announce that I was doing a live stream tonight. I didn't even know for sure I was going to do it until a few minutes ago, honestly. Again, if you guys missed the beginning of the show, which looks like several of you guys showed up later, I am on vacation. I'm actually in Jekyll Island, Georgia, and the home of the creature from Jekyll Island. So I'm going to be filing a report later on that, whatever I can find out about it. I just got here yesterday, so I haven't really had time to do much of anything yet, and that's why the live stream looks and sounds a bit different than normal. But it's really just a one-time thing. I should be back in my normal digs next week at this time, so we'll resume our normal schedule next week. But thank you guys for hanging out here tonight. Looks like there's a bunch, so bear with me here as I kind of go through some of these. Lots of hellos. So welcome everybody who's here. Let me let's run through the list here and see who else here. William's here, Emily, and Verb Home Front. Hello. And who else? Kelly. Yep. Hello to everybody. And let's see who else is here. Lots of our normal folks. I'm glad you guys made it. And again, I'm sorry for the no announcement tonight. The only thing I did was I'd set up the page on YouTube. So if you happen to look at YouTube, you probably knew I was going to do a live stream, but otherwise I didn't send anything out. So I normally don't do that. I normally do try and let people know if I'm going to go live, and I had a few people ask about it, especially on Facebook. Are you going to do a live show tonight? And I'm like, well, I don't know. And then I decided to do one at the last minute. So hopefully this show's turned out okay. Let's see here. Hope you have a fun and safe time, Kelly says. Thank you. Yeah. So far so good on that. Can't wait to see what you uncover, Doug. That's exciting. So I forgot I can put the comments on the screen here. Yeah, thank you guys for the nice comments. Yeah, it would be a treat to see the island. Yeah, I think it will. I've never been here before. I've been to Georgia many times, of course, but not Jekyll Island. I mean, who comes here? I mean, other than the Rockefellers, right? Well, one thing I heard about, and I don't know if you guys, maybe you can help me research this a little bit. I think there's a tribe of Indians. I want to say it's called, and I only saw a little bit of information on this, called the Temecula or Tim something, and they've disappeared. And the story goes, that I remember anyway, and I may be getting some of the details wrong, but apparently there was a little detail that these Indians who have now since disappeared, their bones are still here on some of the, at least the chiefs and the people that were in charge of the tribe. Well, the little detail is they were 8.5 feet tall, 9 feet tall. So, and apparently, reportedly, came from the land of Canaan. So they were Canaanites, they were probably Nephilim bloodlines, who knows what. They were sacrificing babies, they were doing all kinds of human sacrificing, and I don't know if it was the explorers from Europe who basically came across them, were so scared of them, they ended up going south of here and discovering parts of Florida. So they left, and the altar, though, apparently, this is what I heard, the altar where they were doing these human sacrifices, at least the main one, is where Rockefeller decided to build his house. So his house is literally sitting on top of the blood altar. And so I'm going to see what I can find out while I'm here, and I'll take some video and do some still photos and stuff too. So I'll see what I can find out. I don't know how much talking people will do, because honestly, most of the people that are here live here, and most of them either don't know about it or don't care about it, or want to pretend it never happened. And that's all beside the whole Federal Reserve issue. So that's a whole other thing. But it is pretty interesting. So we'll see what we can find out. So yeah, thanks you guys for asking some questions about that. Say hello to the Gnostic fraudsters, Anthony and Kathleen. Age of Nefarious says, well, they're not Gnostic fraudsters. They're fraudsters. They are friends of mine. So I'm sorry you felt that way. But I don't know what they ever did to you. But they're good folks. And I'm sorry if you have a problem with them. But I'll tell them you say hello, even though you didn't tell me your actual real name. So I have no idea who you are. TruthStream Media also did a really good documentary on the island. Okay, good. I found a few things about it. I know, let's see, there's a guy that I follow. I don't know if you guys know who Paul McGuire is. I think he does some really good work. He's done some extensive research on the island as well. So maybe have a look at Paul McGuire. His work is probably the one that I'm the most familiar with, actually. Yeah, amazing meeting with us, even though you're on vacation. Oh, okay. Well, thanks. I don't really think it's amazing. I just wanted to, and you're welcome, but I just wanted to do a little bit of a news broadcast to update myself. Keep in mind the whole purpose really in these videos. Well, there's several, but number one is that I would like to see where we are from a news standpoint every week, so I feel like I know a little bit more about what's coming next and how that might play into the whole end times scenario. So part of this news broadcast is really oriented toward that. And then the other part is that I've been so heavily shadow banned and banned on Facebook. I used to do all these everything I talk about tonight, I would put these different articles up on Facebook, and I can't really do that anymore much because it just gets shadow banned and nobody sees them, or very few people do. So it's easier for me to put it all in a package like a video and put it out as a video in one place, because for whatever reason Facebook isn't and other platforms aren't really banning videos necessarily, Facebook in particular. Now YouTube does. I mean, when I'm done talking tonight, because I mentioned the COVID vaccine stuff, I can be live on Facebook and talk about that, but what I can't do is leave the video up when I'm done. I have to take it down because I will have a strike within maybe minutes as soon as I finish and as soon as it's done processing. So, as soon as I'm done tonight, I'll delete that, and then at some point this week I will put up a shortened version of this show that doesn't mention the COVID stuff, so that it can hopefully stay up on YouTube for a while. So that's the idea here, and that's part of the reason that I'm doing the broadcast tonight. But you're welcome. I'm glad you appreciate it. Let's see here. Just listening to Dane's June 3 broadcast, waiting for your broadcast. So much truth to be told, so little time. Thank you, Susan. Yeah, Dane's great. I work with him, as you guys know. Good friend of mine, and his research is second to none for sure. Gates did the creepiest video with the Grim Reaper in a swamp that ended up being a swarm of mosquitoes. Perfect display of his dark evil mindset. I didn't know about that, but it doesn't surprise me. He looks like a swamp creature, doesn't he? Yeah, September should be much more tolerable weather-wise. Usually starts getting nice about then. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I mean, the weather is off the rails, so we don't know what's going to happen here. Oh, not in Vegas. They're selling fireworks literally really. And it's pretty dry in Vegas, I think, right? A whole night affair here. Dogs hate it so much. Yeah, I know what you mean. And I think where I live in Nashville, I don't think they're planning to banning. I mean, they don't allow fireworks, in the city limits sometimes, depending on where you are. But you can definitely still see fireworks. It's not like they're totally banning it everywhere. So yeah, why are we still pretending there's any freedom left? That's a good question. There still is a little bit, but it sure is disappearing for sure. Let's see. Cable company sent 5G enabled modem 3 years ago when COVID started and felt tingling right away. Could not sleep. Reverted to 2.4 gigahertz right away. Kept it there ever since. No lag issues. Okay, well, good, Martino. Yeah, 5G is bad news. Bad news. William says, thanks and good night. Hope you enjoy your vacation. Thank you. Yeah, appreciate that, William. Bridget's here. Hello. And I guess that was all. Yeah, I hope you guys have a really great week. So again, I just got here. I will probably be here, basically for several more days, or at least probably until the weekend. So we'll see what I can uncover while I'm here, and you guys will be the first to know for sure. So anyway, Susan's saying she's going to do some research on Jekyll Island. So yeah, let me know what you find, Susan. Interested to hear about that. Penelope, hello. Enjoy your vacation. Good night, everyone. Yeah. Let's see here. I've got one more video we could watch. And speaking of demon gremlins, it's another one, and it's your favorite and my favorite demon gremlin, Yuval Noah Harari. So we're going to watch another one that's got some great reset and Homo Harari stuff in it. So let's just hang on for just a few more minutes. I'll play that one as well. But a couple more things to look at, and then we can wrap it up, I guess. Like I said, we're a little bit earlier tonight than normal. So Lost Arts Radio, I don't know if you guys know that we just recently did a show. It was put out tonight, but I've been mentioning it on Facebook about Flat Earth. And I'm not really a Flat Earther. I know some of you guys are. But we did a show with Mark Sargent, who apparently is a pretty well-known Flat Earth guy. Details of the Flat Earth Theory Unveiled, veteran Flat Earth researcher Mark Sargent. And Mark was a very gracious guy, very nice guy. And on Facebook, I had mentioned a day or so before we did the interview, if people had any questions, people had technical questions or had questions about, if the Earth is flat, then what, maybe you have certain things that you want to know that you've always wondered about. Like I did. I had a question or two. And so we put those questions together and presented them to Mark. And I actually got to read them to him on the show. So that's about 3/4 of the way through the show. And that video was released tonight on all the Lost Arts Radio platforms. So you can find it at lostartsradio.com. It's on the Rumble channel. It's actually on YouTube. It's on BitChute and Brighteon and Blog Talk and all those places as well. So if you're interested in the whole flat Earth thing, feel free to check that out. Personally, I don't have a stake in it. I personally think that it's a spherical Earth. I won't say round Earth, because round, that connotation could mean a flat disc as well. So I'm going to say, versus round, I'm going to say spherical. I think Anthony Patch has it right. I think he talks about the 600 cell tetrahedron and how the universe is replicating these tetrahedrons. It's a tetrahedronal shape from the very instant that God spoke the planets and everything else into being. And to me, that makes sense, looking at it from that standpoint. So why would the Earth be any different than that, as far as the shape goes? But again, I don't really have, as they say in Tennessee, I don't really have a dog in the hunt. I don't really care, because to me, our salvation is not based on what shape the Earth is or what we believe about that. It's based on the main thing that any of us should care about, is the salvation that comes through Jesus Christ. And his blood is the reason that we get to go to heaven someday, not because we believe the Earth is flat or a sphere or whatever. So it's one of those things that, to me, it doesn't really mean anything either way. If you're a flat earther, I love you just as much as if you're a spherical earther or a cube earther or whatever you are. It doesn't matter to me, because if you have the blood of Jesus that covered your sins, that is all that matters. So I will leave you guys with that. Feel free to check it out, though. I thought Mark did a really good job in presenting his side of the whole story, and we gave him some pretty good questions that he was able to answer in different ways. And there were a couple things that were asked, and he was like, I don't know. And I really appreciated that. When people are, and I'm that way to an extent. If I don't know, I don't just make stuff up to sound smart. I just tell you I don't know. Or if what I like to do is to point you to other people who have done the research. So that's what I feel like is one of my strengths, is that I have come into contact with a lot of people who are investigating these types of things. So if I don't know the answer, I'm going to try and point you to other sources, and you can make up your own mind. I'm not there to force my will or my ideas on other people. I want you guys to be able to make up your own mind about stuff like this. And whether it's a flat Earth or a spherical Earth or whatever, doesn't matter to me. So, and hopefully it doesn't to you guys either. Unfortunately, it's become like a religion to a lot of people. And I think that's wrong. You're taking it too far when you start telling people that their salvation is based on what they believe the shape of the Earth is. If you take a step back and look at it, you realize, hopefully, how ridiculous that is. It's not about that. It's about the blood of Jesus. Okay, first and foremost. So anyway, it's an interesting show. I thought it turned out good. Whether you're a flat earther or not, feel free to check it out. It's actually a pretty short show. Mark only had so much time, so I thought it turned out good, though. So definitely check that one out. You guys can find me on Telegram. Again, I do special things for the Telegram folks every now and then, because I'm trying to grow that community, because Telegram doesn't censor. So do occasional live stream or present certain videos and things like that on Telegram that I don't necessarily put on Facebook and some of the other places. So The Diamond Report on Telegram, t.me/The Diamond Report. So that's where you can find that one. I've also got another page called End Times Dates on there, and often put a lot of the same stuff on that page too. And speaking of which, this is the YouTube channel, which you guys know about because you're already here, most likely. There is the YouTube channel. I've noticed that, and I think I mentioned this before, I've noticed that I'll get a subscriber or two, and then YouTube will peel off a subscriber or two almost every day. So it's like I'm not really moving up or down that much. I'm getting a few, and then I lose a few, and then I get a few, and then I lose a few. So YouTube is playing games with my subscribers and many, many other channels I know. So I'm not really too worried about it not growing, but at least it's still there. So I will put a shortened version of this show up on the YouTube channel, probably tomorrow at some point. We'll see how it works out. And you guys can find me on Rumble, as you guys know too. I have pointed my URL for the Diamond Report to Rumble now too. So if you go to thediamond.report, that actually takes you to my Rumble channel. It used to take you to my Facebook page, but I did away with that. I still have the Facebook page, but I did away with the URL pointing to Facebook. Instead, it's going to Rumble. So just so you know. And BitChute, you can find me at Diamond Disc on BitChute and Rumble and Brighteon and ClickView. So that's where the different channels are, and you'll be able to find the full version of this show, just as you heard it tonight, up on those platforms. And then the one that'll be on YouTube will be the shortened, condensed, YouTube-safe happy stream that I'll have to take out a lot of stuff, unfortunately. But, you know, I still have a presence on there, so I might as well use it as much as possible. Let me see what you guys are saying in the last few comments here. Susan says, I really respect Richard on Lost Touch Radio because he is a deep thinker, very open-minded. Yes, he is. Yes, you're absolutely right, Susan. Very much. He's a good friend of mine, and, you know, you guys, believers out there, be praying for Richard. He's been having health struggles himself, as you may or may not know. He's kind of come up against this issue going back a couple years and doesn't seem to be able to shake it. I wouldn't say it's getting worse, but it's certainly not getting... he wants to be completely past it, and he's not yet. So definitely be praying for Richard. I love him like a brother, and I know you guys really respect him as well. The people who come into contact with him, he's a great guy. Good friend of mine as well. So yeah, anyways, feel free to check any of those other platforms. Leave a comment if you want to. I will definitely, hopefully get to it as soon as possible. Again, you know, I'm going to be out of my routine for the next few days, but I'll certainly reach back out to people as they leave comments. So thank you guys for listening and hanging out with me tonight. Certainly appreciate that. And with that, let's watch this last video about the Great Reset. And you'll hear a voice that you recognize in this one. It's actually partially narrated by Mickey Willis, the filmmaker, although this is not from his film, The Great Awakening. It could be. I mean, it's done well, but it's actually not. It's just him narrating it. It's called Who is Klaus Schwab in the World Economic Forum. But anyway, I'll leave you guys with that, and hopefully you guys have a really good week. Have a happy 4th of July, more important, Independence Day. Let's hope we can keep our little bit of independence that we have left, and hopefully the tyranny will not encroach in our lives any more than it already is, because it's certainly bad now, and I'm afraid that they're going to make it even worse. So we just have to stand up and say no to this stuff. Anyway, I hope you guys have a blessed week, and certainly stay in touch, and we'll see you guys again in the normal routine. We'll do it again, hopefully Sunday night again next week at 10 o'clock Central Time. And have a great one. We'll talk to you guys again real soon.